If I lived in the 1700s, Lindsey Nguyen, TPSP, Pursuit of Passion, 6th grade. My project. My project is focusing on what it would be like if I, an 11-year-old girl, lived a day in the 1700s. I chose this topic because it really intrigues me to think about how different it was over 300 years ago. Basic tasks or events in our everyday lives have evolved greatly. In this project, I will explain the different steps in my everyday life, but as if I was living in the 1700s. Rise and shine. The first step of the day, wake up. With the help of my phone alarm, getting up on time should be a simple task, right? Nope. Instead of waking up to a calming rhythm or my favorite song, internal weights striking a bell would be my wake-up call. These olden day alarms are known as lantern clocks. The size of these are usually about 15 to 16 inches high, including top finial. The oldest lantern clocks were driven by two separate weights, one for going, one for striking. Breakfast time. What's for breakfast today? A popular breakfast in the 1700s was porridge. Porridge was often placed in a large kettle, then put to cook in the fireplace, and as a beverage, cider or tea would fit nicely. What to wear? What should I wear today? Baggy jeans, a t-shirt? Well, looks like those weren't choices back then. A sack seems like a good idea. Sacks are gowns or dresses worn by ladies in the 1700s, often made of velvet or cotton. Ready to learn? Where's your ride? Some kids walked while others rode horses or drove buggies to school. No school buses were there to pick you up. Education varied considerably depending on your social class. For the children of the poor, there were dame schools, usually run by a woman, which gave an education to both boys and girls. They taught reading, simple arithmetic, and perhaps writing. Hungry yet? Lunch? What's lunch? Nobody referred to this meal as lunch. Dinner was the midday meal. Instead of sitting down in the cafeteria to see what school lunch is serving, you're on your own. School lunches aren't a thing in this period of time. I'm bored. Boredom got a hold of me. Why don't I just go for a scroll on TikTok or Instagram, just for a while? TikTok, Instagram, that's not a thing here. Instead, play some checkers, hopscotch, tag, and leapfrog. Kite flying was also very popular. In the wintertime, when they were stuck inside, many girls would make corn husks or rag dolls to play with. If there was snow, children would go out sledding. A game called 9 Pins was most popular with the men. Home sweet home. After a long day, home is where I'd like to rest. What were houses like in the 1700s? Many of these homes were wattle and daub homes. They had wooden frames which were filled in with sticks. The holes were then filled in with a sticky daub made from clay, mud, and grass. The roof was usually a thatched roof made from dried local grasses, but later in the century, bricks became more popular. Supper is ready. Supper is a meal eaten after dark. Poor people ate rather plain and monotonous diets made up primarily of bread and potatoes. Meat was an uncommon luxury, but meat became more commonly used in everyday meals throughout time. A good way to end a day, going to sleep, but let's get ready for bed first. In the 1700s, most people in the upper class, if ever, bathed. They occasionally washed their faces and hands and kept themselves clean by changing the white linens under their clothing. Crazy enough, a French doctor named Pierre Fauchard told people not to brush, and he's considered the father of modern dentistry. Instead, he encouraged cleaning teeth with a toothpick or sponge soaked in water or brandy. Finally, after finishing your basic night routine, snuggle up in your bed. During the 17th century, beds became simpler in style, although still often surrounded by heavy curtains. Sleep tight. My top resources. I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Keith Fickle, Olivia Algard and Chloe Nguyen, Miss Christy Person, and Miss Aisha Davis. And to my audience, thank you for listening.